Hello, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, Earthlings. Well, this is a big thing for me. 3 little words, Air Force One. I don't know where to begin, and I think what I'm going to do is just ramble on and let the camera roll while I talk. So Harry and Meghan, after the Queen's funeral, requested a lift back to the United States on Air Force One with President Biden and his wife, Dr. Jill Biden. Yeah? Am I getting that right? Okay, so firstly, let's take all the arrogance and cheekiness and over-inflated self-sense of importance of a couple of unelected, unemployed royals asking for such a thing, right? Let's put a pin in all that, right? And just leave it on the wall. We'll come back to that in a minute. Because for me, this is huge. This is really huge. I actually saw it come out last night, and I was chatting to the Duchess of Sussex about this, and she is going to do a video today, which I can't wait to see. And I'm really interested in what she and you other fellow Americans make of this, because Air Force One, of course, is the transport for the President of the United States. It's not where you can just stick your thumb out and catch a lift. Now, even more than that, and this is why it's huge for me, is for a long time, a lot of people have had the theory that Meghan has backers. And actually, I don't doubt that for a second. I think, yes, I think maybe some of us differ on who her backers have been in the past. I mean, she's made a lot of supportive comments, and weird comments actually, when she was interviewed by Larry King years ago, the late Larry. I think Larry died, didn't he? I used to love Larry King. And she actually applauded Rwanda and said, oh, it's marvellous that they're mostly women in power, thanks to the euthanasia of the men during the war. I found those comments in the poorest of taste. I'm pretty sure Larry King did as well. In fact, I'll dig it out and I'll put a link in the description. I did a whole video about this last year. And also, she was going on about women's rights and women's equality, and Larry raises the point, where would you say are the worst for women's rights? I suppose we're talking about Saudi Arabia, that kind of area. And Meghan defends them. Oh no, that's their culture. That's their culture. No. We have to respect a culture that doesn't have equality and women's rights. But when it comes to the British royal family, as we've all found out, oh, that's a whole other ball, isn't it? So my theory has always been that backers are maybe an enemy state. Well, okay, they're not an enemy state, are they? On the face of things. This is not a political video. But a lot of you and a lot of YouTubers have had the school of thought for a long time that because she gets away with so many things, she's really untouchable, that she's got big backers, and a large proportion of people, I think, have suspected the Democrats in America, Democratic political party, and have said Oprah is a Dem, Obama, but she didn't get invited to Obama's birthday party, did she? That was big. But for Joe and Jill Biden, okay, it might not have been Joe and Jill themselves who made this decision, but according to the Daily Mail, and I believe the Daily Mail have got this as an exclusive. This is a leak from the White House. This is a leak from the current Democratic President, Biden. That's the bit I find astonishing. Who decided in the White House to leak this information, and why? Could this be, and this is how I interpret this, these are my thoughts and opinions, YouTube, because Team YouTube are watching everything. And thank you, Team YouTube, for watching everything that was going on Twitter last night as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But that's another story. To me, this is the Biden administration taking a huge walk back. If they were ever backing her, they've just made it perfectly clear they don't want anything to do with her. They're not only not going to touch her with their barge pole, they're not going to touch them with their worst enemy's barge pole, which would presumably be the Republicans. This is enormous. Enormous. A leak of such a nature to the Daily Mail, no less. So, my theory is that there's a possibility that the Democrats backed her initially, and as time went by, they thought, I think we need to get a refund on this, guys. And they suddenly realised, and I'm going to use an English expression now, please forgive me, when you're into gambling and horse races, a common thing for people to say when they've lost is, I backed a three-legged camel. Well, I think they might have found out Meghan's the three-legged camel in the horse race of thoroughbreds. And they don't want anything to do with her. And they've just made it hugely public. I mean, who was the leak? I see Omid Scobie made actually a very valid point on his Twitter feed. He pulled out a load of articles in Radar Online to make the point, why do people like us believe a story that Harry and Meghan are divorcing when we don't believe other stories in Radar? Well, that is actually a fair point. I generally tend not to believe any stories 100% until I've seen it from lots of different sources or I'm seeing a picture building. Now, the thought of Harry and Meghan separating and divorcing, Sue Smith, Duchess of North Sussex, quite a lot of us, Wally, we had a suspicion since about, I think, September last year. It was after the booing at the Jubilee. I think that's when a lot of us, and we were seeing things thinking, I'm not seeing that they're that in love anymore. We're in love. So it's been a picture that's building. So when Radar get this scoop, and I guess time will tell, Omid. Time will tell if that is a thing that's going to happen, an ultimate separation and divorce and an announcement, and it will be known to the public. Time will tell, and I shall remember to pull Omid up on that one and say, well, that particular story apparently was either bullshit or was on the money. But this is the Wokey Kokarati saying, we don't want to be associated with her. This is not just Dior, who came out quite quickly and said, no, she's not going to be the face of Dior. Please stop cancelling your orders. This is not just Spotify saying, you are not worth the money, we're cancelling you. And then a CEO calling her an effing or calling them both effing grifters. This is a whole new level of effing grifter. Not only wanting to be on Air Force One to get a free lift, at the expense of the American taxpayers. I mean, you can't just have anybody willy-nilly on Air Force. Isn't Air Force One like if there were a nuclear threat, they pop the president in it and he goes up? Isn't that what part of what Air Force One is about? This is a huge thing. It's a source of national pride for the American nation, Air Force One. And she wanted what? Can you give us a lift? And then they wanted the kudos, they wanted the bounce, really, didn't they? For their reputations. They wanted to be seen that way. And good for the White House saying no is completely inappropriate. No. I don't think that couple have heard that word often enough. No, Harry. No, Meghan. No, you can't just do what you like. I'm not even going to go there with the bunch of lemons that she sent Jill Biden. Jill Biden must be thinking, what the hell? What am I supposed to do with them? Lemons? Because I wore a similar dress? This is breathtaking. It's like the momentum is building and building and building towards her downfall. And it will get quicker. Things will come thicker, faster, harder. It's this William Morris. I mean, if I were them, I'd just say, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do to help you before they get dragged down. This is going to be rats leaving a sinking ship, quite frankly. And if other things come to light, which I am hoping that journalists are digging into in the background, is how big a connection was there with Christopher Boozy. He featured on their Netflix docuseries. The Duchess of North Sussex's name was included in their Netflix docuseries. I was watching Black Belt Barrister. I can't remember the theme of his video, but he was talking about that kind of thing. And he was sort of saying, oh, well, maybe Netflix had forced, I think, Harry, the fake curtsy thing, but no, I don't think so, because Harry and Meghan had the choice of what went on the cutting floor before Netflix would even see it. It's there, that we can't get away from it. That was their docuseries. They had full editorial control before even Netflix saw what they had. But this, President Joe Biden's administration saying no thank you, and what's more, letting the world know. And what's more than that, letting the Daily Mail, Meghan's mortal enemy, know all about it. And there it is, exclusive, splashed all over the newspaper. Well, I can't wait to hear what Nark, as I call her, Duchess of North Sussex, has to say about this. Because during our chat last night, she obviously, I guess like a lot of you Americans, knows a lot more about how things work in America than I do. I mean, I'm just talking as a European, a Brit living in Spain, looking at this. And if I was in charge of Meghan's PR, well, I'd resign or I'd jump out the window. I'll be off. So what do you guys think of all nationalities, all Earthlings and Martians and Venetians, everybody? I mean, she's so full of herself that I honestly think if aliens landed tomorrow, let's say a big spaceship like Independence Day landed and they said, take me to your leader, she would actually step up and go, here I am, I represent planet Earth. I honestly think the woman is that crazy. Someone get her some help. Please, if you're near her, get the antipsychotics out, deal with it. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. As always, I look forward to hearing your free speech and thoughts and opinions in the comments below.